I was very happy in my role as a father and a professional musician before the tragedy that took my little Daniel from us. All three of my children, and Daniel included, were very connected with my music. It was very meshed. That all changed on that moment, and I tell you what, it not only changed everything for us as a family, but it rewired me as a person.
What happened in Newtown can happen anywhere. In any instant, any dad in America could be in my shoes.
When are we gonna do something?
I've been in this building before, many times, wringing our hands, pleading with legislators, what can we do? Until we finally said, we have to go home and do this ourselves.
This only happens in this country and nowhere else. Nowhere else do little kids go to school thinking that they might be shot that day.
The people on Capitol Hill aren't going to do the work. Then we're going to just get louder and louder until it's unavoidable.
Music succeeds where politics and religion fails.
Somehow, in some way, on some other plane of vibration, he knows that I'm doing my very best to honor him and that I love him and I miss him dearly.
Well, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm a little nervous talking about it. I'm a little intimidated just because of the background, your background and everything that's, and I've seen your face come up on YouTube many, many times.
Oh, sorry.
No. So again, having just sort of at least expressed where I'm coming from now, I feel like I could talk to you. I was really looking forward to talking to you. So
well, thanks, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, and to put myself at ease, I set this here.
I see that. I noticed that, and that's why I unblurred my camera because I usual suspects in my background.
Okay, I'm just taking a look at it. I noticed during, of course, you played your Taylor acoustic a lot during the documentary. So
yeah, that's not here. Oh no, that's the Takamine. Taylor is I think
that's
upstairs.
all right. That's
sorry. It's a 414 that my cousin gave me as a gift.
Wow.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was a surprise. Yeah.
So by way of also just transparency, I've been doing this film podcast for quite a while, for like over too long, almost embarrassingly long, talking to filmmakers, independent film makers, people. I always request if I can get the subject in the film, that's great, and also fiction films. And I work with the Woodstock Film Festival up here. I'm in the Hudson Valley, which I know was where you guys were living before moving to Sandy Hook.
We were in Pauling, New York, actually.
Yeah. Oh, so close to Connecticut. Yeah. But still in New York, and
but familiar with the area. My father-in-law lives in Sullivan County in the summertime in Smallwood, and actually I participated in another documentary called Newtown by filmmaker Kim Snyder.
I remember that one.
And that was shown at the Woodstock Film Festival.
Okay, I think it's possible I even did a segment on Newtown, the documentary. Now that I'm pretty sure I did. Was was there a I don't want to get too far afield here, but was there a Cuomo in that involved in Maria?
Maria
Yeah.
Cuomo Cole, and Cam and Maria will also be at the concert on Thursday.
Right, which is to take place in Manhattan at remind me?
Skirball Center.
The Skirball Center.
Skirball Center for the Performing Arts at NYU.
Amazing. Yeah, that's a great place. Love that spot. Yeah, I had on Kim and Maria on this podcast all those years back.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. And finally, I work full-time. My full-time gig is actually at a radio station where we play Tedeschi Trucks, where we play Sheryl Crow, where we play the Weight Band. So
Awesome.
I this summer got to see Jimmy a few feet away in a really intimate so this was a treat on multiple levels to see A Father's Promise.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And it's a treat for me to be able to play with all those musicians that you just mentioned and more. Well,
I must say why not? There should be also feel the same way about you. You're huge talent.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and I can only imagine, just as you expressed in the documentary, which I'd rather you almost describe, because I've been talking nonstop since we got on here. But Father's Promise, I'll just start it. You interrupt me. So it is. It's kind of achieving a number of things at once. Could we say the documentary?
Say that again.
It's achieving or attempting to achieve a few things at once. The documentary, in the sense that it is at once bringing gun violence, the conversation around gun violence, certainly to the forefront of, and how can we as a community do something about it, and then also it's a personal documentary about your family and about other families in there, and healing, and how music plays a huge part in that and can play. And so music can also heal on a personal level, but also perhaps bring us together because it, of course, transcends politics.
Yeah, I mean, you captured all of it, Adam, beautifully. I think we're done. You really did. And
Thursday.
Well, I'll unpack what you how I feel that you share. You really did capture it all in that. When Rick first approached me about this, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, maybe more. His initial concept was to explore the role music plays in healing after profound tragedy. And I felt that was something that maybe I was getting close to ready to talk to, because it was a process for me to kind of return to music because of the intimate connection all 3 of my children had with my music. It was a difficult journey back, but I could sense that there was a story to tell there. And I was on board. Over time, it has morphed into more and more, as documentaries will do, as they kind of discover themselves through the process of being created. That in Rick's vision, it became more focused on my story, more specifically, which, I'm not going to lie, I've never been a spotlight guy as a musician. I always like to be the support role, serve the songwriter, just paint textures to deliver that, whatever the music is, not necessarily never needed to be the spotlight in the front. But I feel like there is a story to tell here. And again, to another one of your points, it's about, I've always felt we have the numbers. We have, I honestly believe that there are most folks in this country want to protect our children, their children. Everyone's got to agree that we want to see our communities be safer. And what we've done at Standing Here Promise is we've identified and implemented tools that do just that without compromise anybody's rights, without being political. We do this good work, and we're getting positive outcomes. We've prevented many school shootings already by students trained in our Know the Signs programs. We've prevented over 500 suicides that were imminent because students were trained in our Know the Signs programs and either accessed the 24-hour crisis center or told a trusted adult who got them to the help that they need. So those are basic things that are working. We have a model that works. We don't charge anything for it. It's a no-brainer. It's a win-win. And it just comes down to what you said, is getting more support and getting more numbers. And with the Artists for Action component now mixed into this, we are able to reach a larger constituent or more varied constituencies through the fan bases of these artists. And we all know it's tried and true. When an artist is on board with something and urge their fan base to also get involved, it's a great mechanism for increasing engagement, which is exactly what we need to be doing. And you know, there are things folks can do without turning their lives upside down into being a full-time advocate. They can vote, you know, which is according to those same principles of protecting our children and making our community safer. They can volunteer their time. They can tell their networks about this, like, as you say, has to be part of our narrative, part of our conversation. When you consider death by gunshot is the #1 killer of young people 19 and under in this country, the #1. It has surpassed car accidents and everything else. It should be the #1 issue, or at least one of the main issues of every American. And this is a great way to reach more folks through this coalition of artists that Artists for Action is curating, and with the work that Sandy Hook Promise does, which is nonpartisan or bipartisan and solution-based programs and policies working together, and it's effective.
Yeah, I'll put, of course, links to the Sandy Hook Promise, to Artists for Action, in everything that I share with in terms of our conversation. And how do you, as I'm a father of a 19-year-old myself, and I and you know, my partner, she has 3 grown children or growing children, you know, and I'm just like, how do you keep moving forward and not get lose to rage, to being intentional about avoiding criticizing our, you know, senators and Congress people, because I don't want to make this about that. Actually, I want to focus on the what we can do, you know. But I also wonder, as I watched the documentary, and again, it's called The Father's Promise, I wonder how you managed to keep moving forward and not get swallowed in.
Yeah, and thanks for asking that question, Adam, because it is part of my process. It's part of my life now, is being intentional and strategic about how I move forward, and it's been that way since my second life began, which was when my little Daniel life ended. And you know, in the early days, my wife and I were just consumed with grief and despair, and there were moments where we were open about just not wanting to go on. And you know, at the same time being able to intellectualize that we didn't have that option, because we have two we have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old who are actually supportive of us. I mean, they've
Amazing.
come to us and rescued us and put their arms around us and said, we're gonna make it through this.
Wow.
And it speaks to their amazing character and how lucky we are, just in general and specifically. But so it's been a process of how do you go on, and the work that we do at Sandy Hook Promise is double-edged for me. And I'll just be honest, and I'll name that up front, that it's tremendously gratifying to be able to honor Daniel in such a substantive way, to do exactly what we set out to do, was to prevent other families from having to endure this life of pain due to preventable gun violence. And that's the fact of it. And we're doing that, and we're doing that at a growing scale, and we're doing that with more success all the time. And it's a privilege to be able to honor Daniel that way, and to protect James and Natalie and your 19-year-old and everyone else in that way. But it comes at a price, because I'm constantly immersed in all of the fabric of things that led to Daniel's, you know, horrific preventable murder. So there are those things that there is despair, there's rage, there's discouragement every time there's another mass shooting, and there are many. It can be very discouraging and deflating. And then I just have to willfully pivot to, because of the work of the great people at Sandy Hook Promise, I'm part of something that is working, and it underscores the importance of that work, and it underscores that we need to just continue to push forward. And can't give up on honoring my little Daniel. I can't give up on protecting my kids and your kids, especially when we have a model that works. I just can't turn away from it.
It was a kind of crucial that, since music, as we already mentioned, this transcends politics, transcends other divisions, and we're in a time right now where we've never been more divided, as a strategy from some people, but to include hip hop, to include country, to include what other, am I forgetting any others? I mean, you kind of include the films in terms of the getting a coalition together, musically. It was smart to like include all genres so we can reach all people, right? And
Yeah,
underline that this is affects everybody.
exactly. That's exactly the idea. This affects everybody, and everybody has a stake in this, and everybody has and should have. Everybody has a voice, and they should exercise that voice.
Yeah. What kind of numbers of people are you aware of, like just how many people are involved or on board with what you're doing?
I'd have to look the latest numbers up, but maybe 20 million adults and students have participated in our trainings across all 50 states, around 26,000 schools. Definitely now, maybe 16, but definitely 15 school shootings that were planned and imminent and had to meet a very high criteria for being established as imminent, law enforcement cooperation and access to firearms and all of that. 15 school shootings that were planned and ready to go were averted by students trained in our programs and saying something and getting that individual connected to help before it became that tragedy. And like I said, over 500 suicides that did not happen. So those kind of success metrics. And then on top of the bad things that we're preventing, or students who are trained in our programs are preventing, we're also fostering a culture of upstanders who are more connected, more compassionate, more aware of each other, more likely to communicate. And we just see that really having an impact on our culture over time and at scale.
The film is going to actually be in theaters. Well, at least I know in Manhattan. I that's all I know about so far, in the Look Cinemas in New York City as of this Friday, I guess, right? The
Friday, December 8th.
The 8th. And do we know of any? Maybe I'll just if I find out any more, I'll also help spread the word about that. But and then I'm assuming not too far off, it'll be available on demand.
Yes, and Rick would be the one to ask for that timeline. I figured. I know he's sent that along, but yeah, the premiere is at Look Cinemas. I think it's on 57th on at 7 p.m.
on the west side.
Friday. And then and then it goes on from there, and then it'll be available on streaming platforms widely at some point after that. Yeah,
probably early 2024 is my guess.
I would guess, but again, Rick would have the timeline exactly.
Yeah, we'll get all that. That's fine. Yeah. And what you mentioned before, Mark, this concert, the Skirball on Thursday. Why don't if I will at least get the video version of this up and out, so I can start to promote. But I'm assuming I'm assuming it must be sold out or something. But anyway, can you talk about what to expect on Thursday?
It's gonna be a great show with so many amazing artists. And the house band is amazing all by itself, and I'm just privileged to be part of that house band with every chair is a luminary in their own right. And then, being able to support such incredible artists as Sheryl Crow and Peter Frampton and Bernie Williams and the Dumes and Rozzi and Jen Chapin and on and on. It's a wonderful thing, and there'll be snippets of from the documentary, also footage that's not in the documentary that was filmed for the documentary. You'll only be able to see it there at the concert,
Well, conversely,
the-
maybe would the concert be available to watch if you are not in New York City at some point? Do you know about that?
I have to check if it's going to be
Yeah.
streamed or not. That's a good question, Adam. I'm not sure.
Or
if
just
it'll
even
be
in the
available.
future, like if people want to see it, because that sounds like an amazing, and it could be used, of course, as a way of again getting spreading great information and in such an amazing way,
Right, and the songs will kind of be thematic. There, there's kind of a message built into all the songs, and Kevin Bacon is with us as well. He's
Right.
gonna be performing, and I think there may be still some tickets available. I don't know that exact, but I think it's there. They are selling. I think I've heard that it's doing well. I'm not sure.
Well,
Again.
I'm sure it is.
But there may still be tickets available if folks would like to check it out at the NYU Skirball Center for Performing Arts on Thursday, December 7th.
Well, it's been a real honor, pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for making the time with, I'm sure, what is a very, very busy schedule. Anyway, again, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you. I really appreciate it. And I, on a personal level, I think it's just the most important documentary that people must see.
Thank you.
Of course. So thanks again. Yeah.
Thanks for the time, Adam. And yeah, I think Rick did a great job. Rick and Essay did a great job of telling the story with care and thoughtful intention. And I think it is something that folks should see.
I agree. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. All right. Well,
hopefully we'll talk again.
I hope so too. I hope to and maybe jam with you someday.
Love to. Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. When exactly?
Right.
When exactly? No,
you tell me. You tell me. Is that a guild? Is that a guild? Actually?
It is a guild. And I bought it in. I know we have to get off, but I bought this when I was in high school, still in 1980.
Oh, wow.
Like 1980 or 81.
Wow.
So this is an old friend of mine. Yeah.
My brother-in-law has a beautiful guild with such a great voice that he bought, I think, in high school, but that was maybe 20 years before yours. But yeah.
Oh,
and he'll
well,
be
don't be so sure. Oh, well, you know the year.
Oh.
So yeah, you would know. Yeah, this was right on Queens Boulevard.
Wow. Okay. This might have been from similar area. We should talk. I know we have to go, but we should talk about that too. All right. Thanks again, Adam.
All right. Thanks for making that such a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.